Here we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So, Serena, thank you for being here. So, Serena,
Thank you
BABKA,
for having me.
definitely glad to have you here on Clay's Council. So, my first question, Serena, BABKA just had its premiere at HollyShorts last week, and now you're heading to Sidewalk Film Festival on August the 24th coming up. How has that festival circuit energy been treating you overall? I mean, just walk us through that journey from HollyShorts to now Sidewalk.
Oh, it's really been great. We got so lucky to have our world premiere at the Cleveland International Film Festival, and it's kind of been this crazy, beautiful whirlwind ever since. What's really wonderful with short films is that you really get to travel with them and you get to meet your audience. I always say that a film doesn't fully exist until it's been seen by other people, besides the filmmakers. So it's really been a wonderful journey for me as a filmmaker, but also just as a human to be able to travel and to meet people and to go to places I might have not been to otherwise, and to really hear people's reactions. It's, within 17 minutes, people learn so much about the Hasidic community, about what it's like to navigate the world without sight, about guide dogs, about guide dog training. There's really a lot of information that's packed into 17 minutes, and it's really nice to hear people ask questions afterwards and kind of raise their interest in all those subject matters.
So the title Babka immediately evokes warmth, tradition, and community. Tell us about the significance of choosing this particular baked good as your film's namesake.
Yeah, so it's the story is actually I walked completely by accident in front of a little bakery in Hasidic Williamsburg in New York that I, just didn't know anything about, and it's kind of this little hole in the wall. It's called Oneg. And I entered, and it's like nothing's changed for the past 50 years when you enter inside. It's almost like stepping back in time. And this is kind of where this whole idea about a Hasidic baker who loses his sight and who needs to get a guide dog came about. And then fast forward months later, every time I get an idea, I just write it down on my phone. And whenever I'm looking for a new project, I'm like, what have I put in my notes? And I just looked at the notes and the photos, and I found on Google Maps where it was. So I just Googled the bakery and realized that it was actually very famous for its babka, for its double chocolate babka, and that they were, in New Yorker and New York Eats, and they were known to be one of the best 5 babkas in New York City. And I saw that people from all over the city, not just within the Jewish community, would go to that neighborhood just to get the babka, and now it's actually sold on Goldbelly, so you can get it nationwide. And it just kind of made me think, this food is something that is gathering people from very different walks of life. And I love that. I call myself a culture clasher. I love to put people from very different worlds together in unusual circumstances and show that we have more in common than what should divide us. And so it just, the world, if there is one thing that unites all of us is food, right? We
Right.
all need to
Of
eat.
course.
We all love food. And this is a particularly, it's delicious because it's sweet and it's chocolate. And in this case, it's double chocolate. It
Nice. My
takes a
favorite.
long time.
Okay. Well,
Oh, I
wonderful.
just heard okay. So the film is called BABKA, and it alludes to the recipe that the main character's grandmother took from her Hungarian native country into the U.S., to New York. And multiple times in the film, they say, all she had when she survived was the BABKA recipe. So that recipe kind of becomes this symbol of the last thing that remains from an old world that no longer is. And it's also, it's babka, it's food. It's something that I think that, people all over the world tend to love chocolate and tend to love sweets. And what's really wonderful about the real bakery that makes this babka, which is called Oneg's, is that when you look up their reviews and their Google Maps, etc., you see that people from all over the city will go just to have a slice of this babka. And
Yeah.
they now even deliver on Gold Belly, and it's
Oh,
this
nice.
piece of chocolate that really gathers people from all walks of life, which I really loved. And then I did further research, and I was looking if there was any relationship between Jewish food and Puerto Rican food, because in the story, the guide dog trainer is a Puerto Rican man. And I found that there is actually a lot in common because of Sephardic food that was in Spain in the 16th century. So the two characters actually find that they have a lot more in common through food.
Wow, that's wonderful. So, kind of segues. You mentioned food is a great unifier in everything. I mean, obviously, because it's a part of culture, and culture is emblematic, and it does involve food. What has been the reception been like so far, just as you've been out there promoting this film and such, and really just getting it out there? How has the feedback been, just from your experience?
It's a great question because it's, the simple answer is that it's been wonderful, and that's absolutely true. And the more complex answer is that when I describe the film, I say, oh, it's the Hasidic community, and someone goes blind and needs to get a guide dog, and the guide dog trainer is a queer Latino Catholic man. People are like, oh, okay, you went there. How did you do this? It feels like it would be a sensitive subject matter. And then people see the movie and they come out and they talk to me and they're like, this was the sweetest, this was the funniest, and I also shed a tear. And so it's not to throw myself flowers. It's really the credit goes to all the people that gave me their stories to make this film as authentic as can be. We worked with people inside the Hasidic community to really consult. I worked with people who are blind or low vision, both inside and outside the community. We worked with the Seeing Eye, which is the oldest guide dog school in the world, to make sure that we had authentic portrayal of what what the job of being a guide dog trainer entails and the actual dog. And so it's really been wonderful to see that something that could, in some strange way, be seen as too sensitive or controversial or whatnot, is actually just a real sweet, beautiful human story that people, from Cleveland to Hollywood to we're going to Belgium soon. I mean, it's really traveling in places that are extremely different, and some that know the Hasidic community, but most that don't, that have never interacted with someone in the Hasidic community or could really know nothing about that world. And it makes people curious, and I think it eases the understanding and biases that we might have. Because it's one of the goals of the film is really to show people in a three-dimensional way. And often, more insular communities tend to be the second role or the third role, or, they're in the background. And so they don't get that screen time. They don't get that research. Whereas we really made sure to put the spotlight on them and to show them as complex three-dimensional people, which they are.
Now, what's next for you, Serena? What are you looking forward to just going forward beyond the production and screening of this film?
I mean, one of, my favorite parts of the job is all the people I meet along the way, whether it's through research, production, or then right now in the festival circuit. What we're really trying to do now is to make the feature film of BABKA. Because I got to do so much research, it really expanded the story and made me realize that there was a much bigger story to tell than just a short.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote the feature screenplay. It's actually up for an award at HollyShorts as well this week. and it's a finalist in a few very prestigious competitions. And so we're very actively looking for financing to make this feature a reality. So that's one of the main projects I'm working on. I'm also working on a documentary about a blind jazz singer in New York City, who is someone I connected with through my research on BABKA. And then I'm working on a film with that I'm not able to talk about, but that's a very, very exciting project that's more in the horror thriller realm.
Wonderful. Appreciate that. Now, Serena, how can folks follow you, get in touch with you, and to continue to support this project as well as future projects of yours?
Well, the best thing to do is to come to the screening at Sidewalk. That's the first step. And then just follow me on Instagram. It's just first name, last name. So Serena, Serena Dykman, Dykman. And we're, very active in posting all the screenings and the Q&As, etc. And then they can go on my website, which is also serenadykman.com, and subscribe to our newsletter. We promise there is no spam. It's like one email every couple months that just, says where we're screening next, how the past screenings have gone, what we're working on next. News from also, people and cast and subjects from all of the films. So it's a great way to connect. It's really one of the biggest rewards of independent filmmakers is to be able to speak with the audience. And thanks to festivals like Sidewalk, we're able to do that. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We love it.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Serena, Miss Serena, for your time, and I definitely look forward to supporting you and your ongoing projects. And please, everyone, support BABKA. You're gonna definitely be amazed and impressed with it. So thank you again for your time today, Miss
Thank
Serena.
you. And we're up for a Chumanitas Prize in 3 weeks
Nice.
in Los Angeles. So we're
Cool.
very excited at the prospects of that as well.
Cool. Well, you have a great day, Serena, and I'll stay in touch.
You too.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
All right, thank